Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. This is Eddie from Poorboy's Little Homestead. Today we are back in the kitchen. What we're going to do in the kitchen, you ask? We're going to fix us a one-pot full meal deal. We're going to use a 10-inch Dutch oven. We're going to have pork chops, green beans, whole kernel corn, some carrots, green onions, some cream of mushroom soup, and some sliced up Idaho potatoes. So let's get started on putting this one pot meal together. Alright guys, what I'm going to do first here, I got my 3 pork chops laid out. And I'm going to use some avocado oil today, but you can use some extra virgin olive oil or whatever kind of oil you like. I like cooking with different oils, so I like putting that oil on there. Just getting it smeared around a little bit. Next I'm going to sprinkle me a little black pepper on them pork chops. This here you just kind of season the amount that you know you like. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of Creole. Not even a half teaspoon combined there. I'm going to sprinkle just a dash of garlic powder on top of them pork chops. And I'm going to sprinkle a dash of salt. Next, you get you 1 cup of water and you pour it in the bottom of that Dutch oven. You lay them pork chops right down in the bottom. After you put them pork chops in there, I like throwing me a few of these green onions. These green onions is fresh. Well, they ain't fresh. They was out of my garden, but I chopped them up and had them froze. Next, you get you some of these Idaho potatoes or whatever potatoes you like. I like slicing them about a 1/4 inch thick. This here is about 2 medium to large Idaho potatoes. Just need enough to put you a good layer over your meat. It don't matter if some's double stacked. Alright, got my layer of potatoes. Make sure I got seasoning. I put me a little Creole round on there. A little more of my garlic's gonna be sprinkled in on there. And right here is where I'm gonna put just a little bit of cayenne. According to how hot you like your foods, how much you want to put on that. I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit more salt. And give me just a dash of black pepper here. I ain't one of them cooks that measure out all my seasoning. I just kind of got an idea, because what y'all seen me done there on the pork chops and just then is not even a teaspoon of pepper. I bet probably not even a half teaspoon of pepper in each one of them. Next up, I got some carrots that come straight out of my garden that I cut up and had froze. Put you a cup of carrots in there on top of them potatoes. Then I take it's better if you got some fresh whole kernel corn that you cut off the cob, but we don't never do that. We always just put it up on the cobs. But a can of whole kernel corn, Just pour that on top of that. Next up, can of green beans. Sprinkle right on top of it. In here I give it just another little dash of pepper. I put just a little bit more pepper on the very top. A little bit more garlic powder. And then I'll take a can of cream of mushroom soup. But I don't like pouring it straight in there because I want it out. Take it, can of cream of mushroom soup. Get it out of this can here. Trying to get every bit of it. I won't waste none of this stuff. This is some good stuff. You can about put this on any kind of meat you cooking, and it just makes it taste better. Yes, sir, it does. Alright. After I put my cream of mushroom in that bowl right there, I'll take this here W sauce. I ain't even gonna try to say it for y'all. And I'll put me about a teaspoon of that on this cream of mushroom soup. I'll mix that up real good. Then I'll take this cream of mushroom soup and I try to thinly as I can put it right on top of everything. When it starts heating up, it'll just run all the way down to the bottom as it's cooking down. And that little bit of water in the bottom of this pot we started with, see, it starts making that steam. Keeps your meat from getting drying out, but it makes that steam and it starts steaming this food. But what I love about these meals like this is the one pot meal. You do this right here, stick it in the oven 350 degrees for about 1 hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. Have your little pot of cornbread made, or some of them easy homemade biscuits y'all seen me cook on the video the other day, and you got your meal. You got everything in one meal right there. Now I don't eat this like eating no soup or nothing. It ain't gonna be watered down. When you get it out of here, you dip down. You can kind of have your beans and corn maybe mixed up, but you can have your potatoes and then have your pork chops on the side. But now if you don't like your food touching each other, then you ain't gonna like this cooked together. But if you don't like your food touching each other, I don't see how you ever eat soup or beef stew or any vegetable soups. Because it's basically the same thing. Everything's cooked together. Now my friends, that's all that is. That's why it's an easy one pot meal. My wife told me I had to cook supper tonight. And these little one pot deals is my go-to thing. So I'm gonna put this here in the oven. Then we're gonna mix us up some of this Mexican cornbread. And sit back, let it cook a little while. All right, gentlemen, ladies. What I'm gonna do to go along with my one pot meal, I'm gonna make me some cornbread. Now I make homemade biscuits, and I prefer my homemade biscuits over, I guess, any biscuit I found out there that ain't homemade. But when it comes to cornbread, I ain't never really made homemade cornbread that I like any better than when I can get Mexican style cornbread. And really it's ain't just one brand. It's 2 or 3 different brands. To me, it's just as good as any kind of cornbread I ever eat. Homemade. So anyway, that's what we're finna be making. That's some Mexican style cornbread. I always use 2 packs. Me a big skillet, cast iron. Y'all ought to know by now, I love cast iron. So let's get this mixed up and get it in our pot so we can get it in the oven. Well, I know it ain't much making cornbread out of the pack. You just pour these little packs in there. One egg to each pack. These eggs is fresh out the chicken pen. Fresh out the chicken pen. Cackleberries, rooster bullets. Good and fresh. And I don't ever measure no milk. And I like using a fork. I don't like using a whisk. Mix some eggs in there. Then I'll pour me a little milk. And I just go to stirring with this fork. It tells you on them packs how much milk you use. I just pour my milk and add it till it gets to the consistency I want. Already got my skillet greased and preheated. Sitting there waiting on me. Any of y'all got a good cornbread, homemade cornbread recipe? Put it down there in the comments, because like I said, I'd love to make some. But I just don't like yellow cornbread neither. I like this with a little spices, and I guess that's why I like this Mexican cornbread so well. So now we can put that cornbread right in this 10-inch skillet. I don't know how many of you ever done this, but when I make cornbread, after it's made, you done cut it in your pie shapes or whatever shapes you cut your cornbread in, and it's cooled all the way down. You can put this cornbread in a Ziploc bag and stick it in your freezer. And when you want a piece of cornbread for a quick meal to go with something, sit down and make cornbread again, you get you a piece out, and if you're damping you a paper towel, I ain't talking about wet it, I'm talking about damping it. Wrap it around that piece of cornbread, stick it in your microwave for about 30 seconds. There's a difference in being fresh cornbread, but if you got soup or something other where you like me, I normally crumble my cornbread up in my soup or crumble it up in my chili sometimes. You take that piece out of that freezer, stick it in the microwave in that damp paper towel about 30 seconds. When you crumble it up in that soup, you don't never know if it was just out of the oven or if it was already been in the freezer. Alright guys, I'm finna put my cornbread in the oven. Alright guys, it's time to get the cornbread out of the oven. Oh, ain't that pretty. Ain't that pretty. Set this pot back into this some pretty cornbread. Like I said guys, I'd like y'all leaving comments, give me some good easy recipes. Look how easy that just pops right out of that cast iron. But you ain't never used cast iron though, you gotta season it. Keep it clean. Y'all see how easy that just dumped out of that cast iron? But the trick to cast iron It's like this one here. We mostly only cook biscuits and cornbread in it. You see, that don't need washed. You just wipe. If you have any kind of crumbs in it, you just wash it out. And you take this is extra virgin olive oil. You got granola oil or whatever. Just spray it in there while it's hot. Kind of wipe that around. Or wipe it out. Just smear it around evenly. And if you ain't got nothing else in that oven, you stick that back in that oven while it's warm, while that oven's still hot, and just let it sit in there until the oven cools off and get it out the next day or whenever. But that's the key to keeping stuff from sticking in a cast iron skillet. Well, my friends, it's that time. Look at that cornbread. This one pot dish. Look at there, look at there, look at there. Give me a little bit out here on the plate, show you what it looks like. Yes, sir. There's your, if you wanted to divide them up, but I don't care. You got your potatoes, corn and green beans. Piece of that there pork chop. Cut me some of this cornbread. I always cut my cornbread in pie shapes. I don't know, just all my life that's the only way I ever cut it. Look how tender that pork chop is, just fall right into. Guys, if y'all ain't never done that, it's so easy, so quick, no mess, one pot to wash. Some of this Mexican cornbread. That right there makes you do the kitchen dance. Ain't that good? Woo. My wife must be proud of me tonight. Yay. Well, friends, I hope y'all enjoyed the little one pot dish there. If you will, leave me some comments down in the bottom how to make some good homemade cornbread. God bless, and y'all have a great day.